This is Alliance War Season 61. A new season begins with new tactics and new rivals. Champions will rise. The battleground evolves with every step. Who will adapt? Who will survive? Every battle counts. Every win matters. This is Alliance War. Welcome back, champions. It is war number 8, and this one, well, we've got 10 fights again this war. Really been trying to get in as many fights as possible this season, and this first fight up is going to be Ironheart versus Photon. I do not like fighting Photon, and well, I'm having to use Ironheart here. Not my favorite Photon counter either. Can she do the fight? Of course she can do the fight. Do I want to do the fight with her? Not necessarily. The nice thing here is I can just, do normal parries and hit right into her. That works very, very well as long as you have 5 debuffs up and you've got the tracking debuff up with Ironheart. So here now we just need Photon to throw a special. And she finally does. And, now it is just kind of a normal Photon fight here. Her counter does get up a little bit too high for my liking, so I am going to parry heavy just to trigger that pure light form, let that counter drop down as much as possible, trying to keep the incinerates on, trying to keep her from hitting into my block as much as possible. Now the tracking debuff is gone though, so I'm kind of having to start over at this point in the fight, and that's okay. She throws a nice little heavy there for us, and then we can go right into a 3-hit combo, into a striker, into another 3-hit combo, into our special one. All that very, very quickly, just to say we got the tracking debuff back up on there. Now, once again, just bait out that special. She throws that, and now we're just going to kind of hope to go and finish the fight off. Probably, honestly, should have played this ending a little bit slower. We're okay. Even if she throws the special, as long as we're blocking, and I don't even know if a special would kill if it hit me straight out. And there we go. We do, we block the special, we parry the last hit perfectly fine. Just a little chip damage. What are heals? It's just Alliance War, and, they give us more loyalty than we can use most of the time. Moving on to this second fight is another champion I really do not like fighting. I do not like fighting Spiral. Her animations are weird. I can't dex the specials clean, and then she's got those stupid blades you have to look out for later. But, we're just going to use Spiderwoman here. The rare time I get to use her on attack in Alliance War, and, it just feels good. Typically, you want to intercept a lot with her. You want to throw a special too, but you can see there, one, special one, and there we go. See, there's part of the issue with me fighting her, just kind of weird animations and things. And, 30 seconds, we used the invuln boost, we didn't have to heal up, and well, Spiral's dead and we move on. And unlike the first 2 fights, for this fight I actually get to use my favorite counter for Prowler, and that would be Ironheart. We're just going to throw on the Rupture Repulsor here. Ironheart makes this fight very, very easy. You can see there, I am down in health. I'm thinking, do I want to heal? Do I not? Nah, we'll just go in without. I'm very confident in this fight. I feel very good about almost everything in this fight, and it's really nice when I can get those parries right off the bat and don't have to worry about it. So now, all we have to do is bait out specials. We've got the tracking debuff on. I can't miss. I'm healing up from debuffs from the node. Awesome placement here in my opinion. And typically I throw special ones, but I didn't want this fight to end as quickly as normal. I'm really trying to heal up a good chunk of the way. You can see we've already healed up 10%, and just kind of taking the fight a little slower than normal. I could finish this quick, but as long as I don't screw up anywhere along the line, we should get very, very close to a full yellow bar out of this, which is very, very nice. Like I said, I enjoy the Prowler matchup here, and there we go. We got back up to 98%. We healed up 18%, 17% on that fight. So pretty nice fight there. We move on to an interesting one for me. This is a fight you've seen me take many times in seasons past, and it would be typically an Ironheart fight, pretty easy takedown of Dust on this node when Dust isn't a tactic defender. And unfortunately, Ironheart is not a tactic attacker. So right before this war, we took up the Maker to rank 3. We had just recently pulled him, and well, we're going to try him out here. It's one of my first fights with him. It is my first war fight with him. And even practicing this fight, you'll see as I go throughout this, I make quite a few mistakes in kind of the Maker gameplay. There we kind of do it the right way. We did go in with a power start 1. We wanted to get the mine down fairly quick. Here was kind of the first mistake. I should have done a heavy attack there instead of just a normal combo. Not the biggest deal, but when you do it twice in a row and then you throw another special 1, there's no need to throw a second special 1. You want her going back and forth over that same trap. And so we just kind of messed everything up there. And now, we're just kind of getting hit. We're not fighting very clean. Fortunately, she does throw that special 1 when I'm near the wall, which really does help me out in this fight. Now I'm going to do a combo because I want to knock her over that trap with my special 2 to do a ton of damage, and there we go. So that all worked pretty well. The other nice thing is, you'll see it here, I have an evade on the special 2. The not nice thing there is, for some reason, I kind of missed the counter to that special 2, which I typically don't do. But all in all, even as badly played as that was, he is a very safe counter to Dust on that node. Alright, now we get this big old Rintrah here, and we're going to be using Spiderwoman again. This is on the rooted personal space. Decent placement for Rintrah, but he's no match for Spiderwoman. We still have the power start 1 on from the previous fight, which is really just going to kind of speed this fight along. We're going to get his special 1 here, which is fine. We're going to just do a couple hits. We're going to throw our special 2, and we're going to get all those Furies up there. So now what are we going to do with all those Furies? We're going to bait out a special 1. Thank you, Rintrah. I like it when you prove my point. And now watch this. So we do get rooted there. Not the end of the world. You just have to kind of dex the heavy. Slowed the fight down a little bit. But that's okay as well, because now he's going to throw a special 1. And I'm just going to go in, 5-hit combo, and throw my special. Now, he doesn't throw a special, and that's fine. I throw another special 1. We have 18 power stings up there, and yes, boys and girls, that is over 375,000 damage when he went to throw that special. So very, very nice quick takedown of a big old beefy cow. Now this is a case of a fight using the champion I love the most for the node against another champion I really don't like fighting a whole lot, but Ironheart is so good on this node. I'm just going to plan on taking a lot of hits in the block and not letting him throw a special 1 if I can help it. So, typical, start of a fight. Here, that was kind of where I screwed up. And I realized it as soon as I did it. I shouldn't have let him throw that special 1. It just builds his charges up. We're going to let him throw a special 2 here. We've got the tracking debuff on there, so no matter how many times he hits into me, the bubble shield isn't going to come into play. There I got a nice little intercept, which really, really knocks the charges down. And well, at this point, we're 30 seconds in, and I just need him to throw this special 2. And we're going to do a 4-hit combo, beta heavy, and another little combo there. And Shocker's down. Pretty quick, pretty easy Ironheart fight there, and we move on to the next mini. Alright, for this fight, I can safely say it is the first time I have fought a rank 4 hit monkey in war, let alone on a mini, so a little concerned coming into here. Primarily, if I do screw up somewhere and I get hit, it's going to hurt, and hurt bad. Hit monkey, hits kind of hard. So, the plan here is typical for this node. Coming in the first, 8 to 10 seconds, I'm just going to kind of stall. You see those debuffs up there. It's preventing my armor from forming, so I'm not incinerate immune right at this point in time. So I've got to wait for those to drop off. They drop off. Now I can go ahead and start. You can see there I got an incinerate on briefly. Armor formed. Incinerate goes away. Now I'm okay. I just don't want to hit into him when he's got the shock mode up there, which is where he's at right now. So we're just going to dance around a little bit. Now we want to go ahead and get a nice clean parry, and we're just going to do medium, light, medium, and then we're going to do it again. We're going to stack on some incinerates. The nice thing about Hitmonkey is he does not have very much health. So, we're not going to be too terribly concerned on, how many specials we throw and things like that. It is more about making sure he doesn't hit us, making sure we stay as healthy as possible. And now the shock is about to go away. It is now gone, and we can go in and start hitting him again. I'm going to throw a special 2 just primarily because I figured it was going to do a good chunk of damage. Didn't do as much as I was hoping for, to be honest. Didn't have a lot of incinerates on there, but still, it would have been nice to do a little bit more. There, I'm just kind of playing it safe now, and well, I said the heck with playing it safe. I'm starting to get tired of the fight. I can only dance around and tempt fate so long, and there was the evasion. Luckily I had the relic ready to go for when that happened, and now we can finish this fight off. Like I said, I was tempting fate doing all that dancing and things, and eventually I knew something like that would happen, so I kept the relic there ready to go, and we get through that fight pretty clean. And now coming in here, I had really 2 options. I could do this fight with Ironheart, or I could try to do it with the Maker. Like I said, I just ranked this guy up, and I'm figuring, why not? He's a decent counter to Onslaught. I want to go ahead and, try to do this fight with the Maker. You can see I'm trying to figure out if I want to do all the pre-fights. I plan on using the Maker for one more fight. So I was kind of saying, okay, I had 5. Yes, I know I'm going to get some back, but I just wanted to make sure, being a very, very new Maker user, that I didn't hurt myself for the other fight I wanted to use it for. And here, this fight, like I said in previous wars, kind of the plan here is to just, knock them down as much as possible. So every time I, kind of evade, I want to knock down Onslaught here. So you can see that's kind of the plan, and that's where we're at. I don't want to be faltered. He won't get the unstoppable. Well, he may get it, but it won't matter because I've got the grit up because I'm a tactic attacker. And you can see here, this is kind of going wrong again. I threw 2 special 1s again. No need for that. Something I will learn as I go on, and something I know now is really just, you only need the 1. You don't really need a second. There, I'm letting the trap recharge, then I dash back too far. So like I said, there's a lot of things I need to learn yet in using the Maker kind of in the ideal way. That said, I'm doing okay here. I'm still okay, health-wise. I'm keeping the 1 debuff on there that I have. I'm getting close to a special 2 there. I missed the crush. Okay, not a big deal. Now we get to throw a special 2. We do hit him back over the trap, which does do a nice chunk of damage. And, we should be able to get through this fight at this point in time, as long as we kind of keep in mind, hey, we knock him down. There we go. And we will throw another special 1 here because now our mine has been blown up for the special 2. And, slower fights with the Maker. He's not the fastest champ. At least I'm not fast with him yet. He can be much faster than what I'm doing. I learn things as I go. You'll see I use him again in a later war during the season, and I do a little bit better on those fights with him. Everything just kind of has to click. It takes me a little while. I'm not the fastest to learn things. Here, we do throw a striker. We're going to go ahead and do another combo. Probably could have thrown a special there, and honestly, it may have finished the fight. Possibly. There, I did not feel comfortable, and now I've got the falter on, and I recognized it, which is nice. That falter seemed to last forever, though. There, we do a combo, and now we're going to throw a special because our mine is way far back on the map, and all we need him to do is run over it again. And there we go. He hits it during the special 1 and blows himself up. And like I said, not great with the Maker yet. Hoping to learn and hoping to get better. And now we get this Arnim Zola, and well, this is another fight that I feel pretty comfortable taking. It's usually one that I lose a good chunk of health on, just because of the brute force on the node and some of the degen, and just trying to bait out Arnim Zola, and at some point in time I'm bound to make a mistake and miss a count or parry when I shouldn't have. So we're just going to fight this fight as safe and as cautiously as possible, knowing full well there are times when I'm going to just take someone damage that probably don't really need to take during the fight, but we take it anyway. So you can see now the stun was down. I dex, get the incinerate on there, and right now through 25% of the fight we're doing pretty well. Here he's going to throw a special one. I kind of screw up the counter of it, but we'd get a nice little special one intercept there. Now ideally we would go ahead and parry, but he just kind of decides to walk into me and throw a light attack. I love it when that happens, and it's typical. For whatever reason, when champions just kind of come in with a light attack, I just get hit. I don't like it. I wish I could change it. It's just my reflexes aren't fast enough. Here we throw a special 2 just because the power pushed us there. Fortunately for us, twice now we've kind of pushed him over that 20 hit limit, and we didn't get put to sleep either time. The little chip damage we've taken, I'll live with. This is a fairly clean fight so far. Now I need to go ahead and get another parry, and there we go, we get another heavy, which is very, very nice. Now we're just going to do a medium light medium into a special 1, and well, only losing 20% health to this fight, I'll take it as a big old victory and a big old win. It could be worse, could be better, but we move on to the boss. And for the boss, well, we're going to use the new kid on the block. We're going to try to use the Maker for this. We've healed him up, and now we're going to throw on all the pre-fights, and we're going to do our best here. I kind of know what you're supposed to do with him, and I had a plan coming into this fight. The plan was I was going to throw a special 1, then I was going to go to a special 3 and let her run back and forth over the trap, and then kind of rinse and repeat. That was the plan. Well, you'll see. Let's get into the fight here, and I'll kind of explain as we go along. So, here, she's stunning me at the beginning. No big deal there. Kind of figured that was going to happen, but it's fine. She didn't counter it. Now here we go. Now we can start, just kind of parrying and knocking her down. I should have knocked her down there, but I wanted to push her over 2 bars to get the special 2. And now here's kind of where I screwed up. I should have thrown a special 1 right there. I didn't throw a special 1. Okay, not the end of the world. Once again, just should have done it earlier than what I did. And now, we're still doing okay. But where that becomes a problem is right here when I throw the special 3. There's no trap for the special 3 to move, activate, and then she's not taking any extra damage there. So I kind of wasted the first minute of this fight. And well, Maker doesn't do a whole lot of damage anyway, so wasting a minute is a big deal. So now, a minute into it, now we throw the special 1. And now we're like, okay, now we've kind of got it where we want to. Let's go ahead and just make sure we're knocking her down as much as possible. I'm kind of alternating knocking her down, doing a 5-hit combo. I don't know if that is good or not. Probably should knock her down more often than what I'm doing, but still there. She was stun immune, not the end of the world. Once again, here, I could have thrown a special 2, but like I said, my plan was to throw a special 3 and let her walk back and forth over the trap as much as possible. So, we're unfortunately almost 2 minutes in, and she's only down 12% of her health. So I said, let me try a special 2. Didn't do a whole lot. I was hoping for more. So I'm like, okay, well, let's go back to the plan. Good chance we don't finish this fight. Good chance we end up, timing out or something like that. Not the end of the world if it happens. I will take it. It's the first fight with a new champion. Should I be taking the boss with him? Probably not, but at the same time, it's fun. And what else is this game for if it is not fun? I'm not in any real big danger here. There, I kind of finally got hit for the first time. She puts debuffs on me, so I'm going to get some willpower healing as we go along here, which is fine. Here, we throw another special 2, we knock her back over the trap, and we're like, oh man, that is really doing no damage at all. I keep hoping for a bigger burst, and maybe there's a way to get a bigger burst, but I at this point am like, we're 2 minutes left. There's no way. Let's just do whatever damage we can do. And I now finally get through my head of, hey, let's go ahead and try what I originally had planned to do, just to see what happens for the next fight, or the next time I have to take her on this node. Like I said, very, very safe counter for her. You can see there, I'm taking some damage from, trying to evade her when she's stun immune, and there we get parried, we take a special, but still, not too terribly concerned. I'm going to throw this, I'll take the adrenaline healing back up, and, I'm more concerned about time, and now, you can see here, this is what I wanted to do all along. Just bounce her back and forth over this as much as possible. And you can see here, it finally, for the first time in this fight, for a stretch of time, I'm doing some decent damage to her. That's what I should have done all along, is just, kind of focus on, pushing her back and forth over that as much as possible. It doesn't last the whole time, but if I had done that, 2 or 3 times, I think we would have been okay. You can see here, even with that, now that we've done it, there's only 40-some seconds left. She's at 40% health. It's not the greatest thing in the world. Here, I'm just kind of saying, yeah, I'm just going to get whatever damage I can get from here on out. There's no way I'm getting through this fight. It would be nice if I could. If I would have fought it differently, I think I could have very easily done it. I think the plan would be to special 1, special 3, special 2, special 1, special 3, special 2, and kind of do that over and over again. Here, I just want to knock her back into the trap, do a little bit more damage before the end, and 4, 3, 2, 1, and we got her down to about a third of her health. Unfortunate that, that costs a attack bonus, but you can see there, I finished 65% health, getting hit as many times as I did by a boss, and still finishing that high in health is pretty decent. So here we go. We're just gonna go back in. I'm trying to debate, do I heal up, do I not? I'm gonna throw in a combat regen. Yes, high level war, if I was doing tier 1 and not tier 2, if I was doing masters, of course we would heal to full. Here, we're not going to. We're just going to go ahead and toss on a combat regen, and, we're going to let her debuffs heal us up some. So, my goal coming in here now was, okay, is there a way I can heal up during this fight, during a boss fight? Finish with more health than I started. Well, you never know. It may happen. So there we go. We throw the special 1. She throws her special, and now, I'm going to live out my plan. At least that's my thought process at this point. She can throw that special all day long. I'm perfectly fine with it. Here, we're going to go ahead and go into a striker. We do have to knock her down. There we go. We knock her down. She's going to throw her special. I'm going to let her come back over the trap. And we're going to let her come back over the trap one more time. You can see, that's where the damage is. Now we throw our special 3. You can see we have healed up some. So, he is a very safe option for this. Now we just have to kind of bounce her back and forth over the trap as much as possible. And if she wants to do that, she can do that all fight long right there. That's the ideal position for her to be in, and the thing to do in this fight is just let her bounce back and forth over that trap as many times as possible. You can see there, it did roughly, probably 18% of her health in a very short period of time. Now we just need to go ahead and bait out a heavy. We're going to wait a second, and now we're going to do heavy into a special 2, push her back over the trap. She's down to 3% health. The other thing that's nice in this is if you can do that when her shield is down, it does much more damage than when her shield is up. She's down to 2%. I have healed up pretty nicely during this fight, by the way. So very, very safe counter. You can get hit a bunch of times. Hey, guess what? I got hit there. I have no longer more health than I started, but we just need her to walk over this trap one more time, and that fight is finished, and so is the war. So another 10 fight war on the season, unfortunately with one timeout there that did cost me an attack bonus. So when we look at our season stats, what we're sitting at right now is 72 kills, 8 deaths. I'm counting that timeout as a death. So that is 8 deaths on the season through 8 wars. Won a war, roughly 9 fights per war. I will take that every single time. And if you've liked this video, please hit that like button, subscribe, and leave me a comment down below. I always love hearing from you. And until the next one, take care, all.